All right, we'll get your attention here to the front of the room. Welcome to the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Final. This is the last round of Monster Energy Supercross for 2024, but it's really only halftime because we will be headed to the Pro Motocross Championship in 2 weeks, and then the second annual SMX Playoff 1, Playoff 2, and Finale coming up in September. Welcome to our press conference. We will talk to the top riders in all three championships of this division, 250 East, 250 West, and 450 contenders. We're the SMX Insiders, Jason Wygant and Jason Thomas over there. We just want to welcome a couple dignitaries who helped make this happen. First and foremost is Jeff Robbins, who is the president and CEO of the Utah Sports Commission. This is the state of sport. They've been hosting Supercross races here for over 20 years, and we're glad to have the Supercross finale right here in Utah. So thank you, Jeff. Also, thanks to Monster Energy and Fly Racing and all the partners that helped make this championship happen. Also, thanks, of course, to our athletes, teams, the manufacturers, and the live streaming audience watching at home, and our broadcast partner, which is NBC and Peacock. We'll get to the riders in a moment, but as I said, this is really only halftime in our 31-round championship. Riders using their Supercross points to qualify for the SMX playoffs in September. So we want to remind you that Pro Motocross will begin in 2 weeks at Pala Fox Raceway in Southern California. The top 20 riders in combined points, both motocross and Supercross together, automatically race in the three SMX playoff races, Playoff 1, Playoff 2, and the Finale. And then there'll be two more gate picks up for grabs in the LCQ, which is for riders ranked 21 through 30 in points, or Supercross main event winners or Pro Motocross overall winners if they're not in the top 20 in points. And of course, with the Super Motocross World Championship, the largest purse in off-road motorcycle racing with $10 million on the line, with the purse money in Supercross, Motocross, and SMX together. So we're excited about that, but we're excited about handing out #1 plates tomorrow night right here at Rice Eccles Stadium. We'll get to some of the athletes. Jason Thomas.
Thank you, Jason Wygant. And without further ado, we're going to start with the 250 Eastern Coast, and we will bring out each rider individually, and we will start with points leader Tom Vial. He will be followed by Monster Yamaha Star Racing's Hayden Deegan. Followed by Pierce Brown. Cody Schock. And Firepower Honda's Max Anstey. So I'll start off questions here before we jump into the media. Tom Vial, second year, and big improvements, as everyone can see this year. Can you just talk about what was where you saw the biggest improvement, whether it was through the motorcycle or just becoming more familiar with American racing, because the jump forward was noticeable?
I would say I feel way more comfortable on the bike, and I had actually a really good winter. My preparation was good. I didn't have, let's say, any injury or something, so I could really train the way I wanted. And actually, the first race was pretty bad with the crash. I didn't went or expected, but we actually went on the podium, I think, every race after that. So I've been way more consistent than last year, and I would say I'm feeling comfortable on the track. Last year I was coming to a Supercross track, and on the race especially, and I was like not scared, but like I didn't know what to do actually. And I feel like this year I'm way more confident, and I feel way better on the bike.
We'll open up to the media. We'll have some roving microphones here if people have questions for our athletes. Go ahead.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports, for Cody. Can you reflect a little bit about the season and what it took to get here? Maybe some of your emotions when you broke your collarbone back in Birmingham, I think it was, and now to have rebounded and put such a big spotlight on Club MX for this season.
Yeah, it's definitely been a pretty killer season for myself. Obviously, I've kind of always been like that mediocre rider in the past, and I feel like I've kind of taken it to that next level this year with the Club MX team. And yeah, I mean, the past is the past. We've all had injuries, and we all overcome it. So happy to just move forward with everything. And yeah, I just want to continue to try putting in these solid type of rides and be consistent. And yeah, I mean, it's got me this far, so I just want to keep it going.
Michael Antonovich, this is for Hayden Deegan. Hayden, if you flash back 6 months ago, we all know the situation that you were in, but if you go all the way through this, all the learning lessons and the things that you've gone through, what would you say is the biggest moment of this year to get you to this point?
I mean, there's definitely been a lot of learning moments from this year, just from incidents with racers, incidents with myself, winning. I mean, this year, people had a lot of, championship hope in me, but I've never even won a Supercross till this season. So just to win a Supercross, 2 Supercrosses already this season is a big check off the goal list. So, I mean, we've checked off a lot of things this year, which I'm super happy about. And, yeah, we're continuously going up.
Jim Kimball for Tom Vial. Tom, in the past when you raced in Europe and won the GPs and were the 2-time champion, you were really good at getting the red plate and then managing the series. Has that carried over into this Supercross series? Because it seems like once you got the red plate, you've done really good at managing to keep it.
I would say it's really different compared to Europe. Like, the series is like almost 20 races during the season. We only have like 9 or 10 for Supercross, so it's really different. You cannot really do a lot of mistake. And I think after my win in Daytona, and especially the win in Birmingham, I was like, okay, I can fight for the championships, and I was feeling way more confident. And after those 2 wins, I was really like trying to fight every weekend for another win. And I've been pretty consistent actually since Daytona, I would say.
I got a question for Pierce Brown here. This is pretty wild this weekend because it's also an East-West showdown. We'll have the best West and East riders together, and there's titles on the line. So I think a lot of fans wonder, how do you play it? Because I'm sure you have individual goals for yourself amidst all this chaos. So what is your plan coming into the weekend? Maybe titles out of reach, but there's things you want to accomplish, right?
Yeah, for sure. At this stage, I don't think a championship is feasible, but I still have goals I want to check off for this season. It's going to be hectic. Like you said, East and West are going head-to-head this weekend, so we have 2 championships to wrap up, and I'm hoping to just let that play out behind me. But, yeah, I just want to end off the season strong and bring some momentum onto the outdoor season.
Max Anstey, coming out of the off season, I think many were saying that you were the rider to look for. Flying at the test track, I heard over and over, you had the red plate, but then I think maybe your best form of the season was at Philadelphia. You get the win. Was there something in the off season, maybe with yourself or the motorcycle, you could have prepared or done earlier to find this form that you found later in the season?
Yeah, the new gearbox. Simple. We got bad starts for the first part of the season. Obviously, put myself in a decent position at round 1. I played it safe down the inside, and all the guys were out on that first turn. So ended up being in a strong position, so I could manage not manage, but just be consistent for the first few races. End up getting the red plate. But we knew that starts were so important, especially against such great bikes and teams and riders. So we went to work. The guys came up with a new thing in the gearbox, and it made my starts a bit better. So that was a positive. Of course, it's nice to win a race in Philadelphia and start up front. Obviously here at altitude it's a little bit different, but yeah, positives. At least we got one of them.
Andrea Ruggiero, Motor Now blog. Tom, with a relatively large points lead, what is your strategy going into the finale? Are you going to ride more conservatively or ride more aggressively and push to the front?
I mean, you never know, especially in Supercross. In the last race, everything can happen. So I'm just gonna race another, like a normal race, I would say. I'm just gonna try to. My start was really bad last weekend in Philadelphia, so I've been working on my start, and I really want to have a way better start, and hopefully I can fight in front. That's really my goal, and try to keep the momentum I had in Philadelphia, and of course I want to try to fight for the win this weekend.
Hayden, watching that Philadelphia race, I think many, including myself, were kind of waiting to lunge and take a shot at Tom Vial if you got there. Was that something you were thinking about, or was it just an opportunity you never got? Because we knew you needed to make up some points there, and getting aggressive may have been that door you needed to open.
I mean, I did run into him once, but he didn't really move that great. But I mean, it was hard. We were coming from the back, and when you're coming from the back, it's a lot different because you got guys in between you every time, right? Like he got around. I remember it was like a few laps to go or whatever, and he got around Pierce, and I was like, dang it, because I know Pierce, he's gonna ride a hard race, and a lapper hit Pierce and let Tom right by. So I was like, darn, maybe I had another chance to get around him at the end. But I mean, it's racing. Anything can happen, and especially with the one more round to go. I mean, people know how I ride, so we're just going to go out there and try our best.
Victoria Beaver, Road and Track for Max. With the way that your team is set up and you kind of being the lone wolf and ambassador during this entire North American Supercross run, how have the last 17 races been for you, and what do you really make of this season?
Well, I've only been doing the East Coast rounds. Obviously,
Sure. Yes.
Dean's been doing the 450 stuff, but it's. I mean, to be honest, I've been in all different type of situations, and obviously I know my crew for the last couple of years now. So me being the only guy has been a benefit in a way, because we've been able to try and put all of the money or all of the resources that the team have into one bike, my race bike, and be competitive. So, you know, I think as far as the team goes, Yariv, and you see how much it means to him when we were at Philadelphia, and I think they've done the right thing. You know, if I'd have had three other teammates or four teammates or whatever, I don't think we'd have made the progress with the bike that we had, because, you know, parts would have been a little spare. So no, we've done the best that we can with what we've got, and yeah, pleased to be in this position. You know, going into the final race. So one around, I'm happy with that. Now we can just go and do the best we can this weekend.
Question for Max also. This summer, Nationals, SMX, Australian stuff, what are your plans to do after Salt Lake here?
Yeah, obviously the team is only a Supercross team, so got a bit of a break after this weekend. And yeah, my contract with Yariv and Firepower is through Australia Supercross, so that goes through to the end of the year. But we'll see. I don't honestly know what's happening there with all of that stuff, with schedules and this at the moment. One job at a time. I've learned to focus on what I've got to do right now, and after this weekend, we'll have a meeting and figure that out.
Scott Yarja, Moto Now blog. To expand on that a little bit, Max, just like last year, you qualify right into the SMX playoffs with a race win. Maybe you don't have this figured out already, but we saw you race only one race last year. Do you have plans to race all three, go for that SMX championship?
No, not with my guys. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, my contract is Australia, and I learnt last year the tracks for SMX were very hybrid outdoor style. My guys have done a fantastic job at building me a Supercross bike, and the stuff that we do in the off season and the stuff that Yariv has me do over there in Australia is very tight and kind of arena cross style. So our bike is very specific to that, and again, we've built a competitive bike for that. I realized when we went to SMX that, of course, to again compete with the factory bikes on a more of a deep outdoor style track, it requires a whole other setup, a whole other engine package setup, and a load more work that, yeah, requires obviously more money and more things like that. So at the moment, no, focus is on doing what we've got to do right now. And yeah, that's all we can do.
Callum Brower with MotoOnline.com. For Cody and Pierce, there's a lot of emphasis talking about the championship fights, but for you guys, you're tied for third in the series. Is there an importance for both of you to get that position? Are you focusing on each other, or is it just about getting your own race done here?
For me, third doesn't get me anything more than fourth does. So I'm out there to win. I want to end the season off like a bang, like I said before. So that's my focus. Yeah, if I'm not in the title fight, I could really care less of how I finish. So I just want to take it one race at a time, and we have one race to go. So we'll see how it goes.
And for myself, there is no benefit between third and fourth. Obviously, it would be cool. I mean, I've never been in this position before. But yeah, I just go out there, be the best version of me tomorrow night, and yeah, we'll see.
Matt Williamson, MXP Mag. By the way, awesome product placement there. So this question's for Cody. So I remember talking to you, it feels like 100 years ago. You weren't racing. You were we were at one of the dealer things for Indianapolis, I believe. What does it feel like being where you're at now? Did you ever feel you'd be like this in the spotlight amongst these awesome riders?
Absolutely not. Growing up, I didn't even plan on racing Supercross, and I didn't even ride a Supercross track until I turned 21. So kind of got to a late start. Yeah, I mean, 2019 was the very first time I did the whole Futures thing, and qualified 40th for MetLife the following weekend. But yeah, we definitely made some pretty big strides. I always knew that I was talented in a way, but to get to this level, I didn't even imagine it, and that's why I'm just stoked to be up here. And yeah, we got this far, so let's see how far we can go.
All right, with that, we will thank our 250 East Coast region, and we will, thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Just a note for the media we have assembled here. We'll have what we know as the traditional Supercross press day after this. So when this press conference is over, we'll have Supercross Futures riders available for interviews and riding out on the track, and then our 250 and 450 riders available for interviews and riding on the track when this concludes. So we're going to let the riders, when they're done here, go gear up. So don't try to intercept them on the way to their trucks. We'll give you interview time out on the track. And now we'll talk 250 West.
Yeah, switching to the 250 West region. First rider will be Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki's Levi Kitchen. The rider tied with him in points, Rockstar Husqvarna's RJ Hampshire. Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing's Jordan Smith. And Honda HRC's Joe Shimoda.
I'll ask one question, then I'll open it up to the media. I really got to flip a coin here. I'll go with you. RJ, just talk about this scenario. Tied going in. That sounds nerve-wracking, but I know a lot of you would say, this is the situation I want to be in, to bet on myself. So how do you square up with this?
Yeah, I mean, either way, it was going to come down to, Salt Lake this weekend. Now we don't have to do math. Like, whoever wins, takes it all. So, I'm just excited. I'm thankful to be in this position, to have the red play at the final round. Like, that's what you want. So, we're here, and we're ready to go.
All right, we'll open it up. Michael?
Michael Antonovich with SWAT Moto Live. This will be for Levi and RJ. If I can go to Levi first, it's the same question, RJ. What'd you do this week? I mean, we think about what this scenario is like. You know what the math is. Do you ride a bunch of Supercross laps? Do you try to get it out of your mind? Do you do outdoors? How is it?
I just did what I've been doing the whole season, really. But I was in California this week, so just rode Tuesday, Wednesday like a normal week, and same old, really.
Yeah, same here. It was 200 degrees in Florida this week, so it was a little bit less laps, but same thing. Supercross Tuesday, Wednesday.
Dan Beaver for Levi. You guys zipped up to 299 wins, now kind of stalled. Does that add a little more pressure to get the win this weekend? You've got two things going then. Obviously, that gives you the championship, but you get the 300 win for your team. Does that add the pressure? Any pressure?
Honestly, I don't really care about the 300th win. I'd rather put a plate on Mitch's door, to be honest with you. It's cool that it would end up being the last one, but really it's just a race between me and RJ, so whether we win or not.
A quick one for Jordan Smith. It's kind of the same thing I said of Pierce Brown in the 250 East. You have your own individual goals. And by the way, there's podium and win bonus money and things like that. So how do you play that with the chaos of two championships on the line around you?
Yeah, I think just get off to a good start and leave the championship battles behind me, I guess. Wanted to get as many wins as we could this year and only got one. So it would be nice to get the second one tomorrow night.
Question for Joe Shimoda. Last week you get the win, breakthrough race of your season so far. We were obviously at elevation in Denver. We're still at elevation, maybe a little bit lower here in Salt Lake. Would you still be able to use the same settings and the things, especially for the start, that you used in Denver?
Yeah, I think so. For this weekend, I don't see any changes on my bike or myself either. So, like Jordan said, try to get a start. And, the goal is really to be not in the middle of RJ and Levi. So, I guess good start and just sneak attack for me.
Matt Williamson, MXP, question also for Joe Shimoda. So, Joe, last week was pretty cool after the end of the round, seeing all three Hondas up there. What does that feel like, just being up there with what I believe are good friends to you now, and they always have been? What was that like last week?
Last week? Wait. Sorry, can I ask that question again?
I'm sorry, I was just asking about at the end of Denver. So being up there after the podiums, all three Hondas went up on stage. All smiles from everybody, but I think yours was the biggest. How was that for you?
Oh yeah, it was cool to have me, Jed, and Hunter all in the podium. We couldn't do anything better. For me, it's nice to get a win for myself and with the new team. So it was a good one.
Steve Mathis, Darkside MX. Jordan, not to bring this down, but you and RJ, you're linked together, buddies, friends, right? All of that. And I think when you had the red plate, we were like, dude, this is awesome. One of these guys could win it. You're probably not going to win this. RJ's in contention. You got to win. Do you look at RJ, though, a little bit and be like, this could be one of my last chances, or this is my last chance, and look at that guy. He's up there and you're not. Or is it just successful season, we'll get him next year type deal?
Yeah, the goal was to try and win for me coming in, for sure. That was, the plan. And it's a bummer that I'm coming to the last race without a real shot at getting it done. So I'm happy for RJ. I'm happy for Levi, both of them, both good friends of mine. And, it's going to be kind of exciting to kind of maybe see where they're at while we're on the track. But, no, it's I don't feel like it's my last chance. I feel like I still got years in me, and we'll try again next year.
Andrea Ruggiero, Moto Now blog. Jordan, with the two 450 guys on your team being injured, have you put any thought, or your team put any thought into moving up for outdoors and racing the 450?
No, I don't think there's really been no talk to me, at least, about that.
Kellen Brower with MotoOnline.com. For Levi and RJ, since you guys are tied, if you end up next to each other on the racetrack, have you thought about in advance what that's going to be like, how you're going to race each other at that point?
I'd do a lot of things for a race win. You guys have seen that. Championships a little bit more. Levi and I are good friends, but it's also a championship, and I expect the same from him. So we're racers. We want to win. Championships are massive. It's taken me years to get to this point, so hopefully that doesn't come down to that. It's like I said, it's a championship.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I know it goes both ways. We wouldn't really lose respect for each other at all because, at the end of the day, we both want to win. So no matter what circumstance, I don't know. We'll just – hopefully it's clean, but we'll see.
Jim Kimball for Motocross Action for Levi. Levi, you've steadily progressed since you turned pro. But this past season, or this season, it seems like you double-stepped and really advanced. Obviously, you changed teams. But is there anything you attribute your success to this year?
I think it was going to turn out this way no matter what. I think just having a full season last year was really the difference. And last year, it's easy to say that I wasn't where I am now, obviously, but I actually had pretty good speed last year. I just never really started up front, and I'd say a combination of the bike and a couple other things, just the position I'm putting myself in, every race is really what's changed. I don't really think my riding has changed tremendously, honestly.
I got one for RJ. You mentioned after Nashville, you and Tom Vial had taken their red plates, and you mentioned how that's really big for the Austrian brands, which you've been vocal when the 250 wasn't where you needed it to be, and you've been complimentary when it is. So what does it mean to have, obviously, the bike where it needs to be for you to potentially both win titles?
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's a big group effort from everyone in Austria and also our team here in the States. Like, there's been so many guys that kind of came in and gone out. Man, we just got a really good group over there, like from top to bottom, from engine to suspension. I mean, you guys can tell we're on a different bike than what we have been on. Yeah, man, it's huge. If we both can get this championship wrapped up, I mean, that's massive for Austria and, like I said, our entire brand.
Question for Joe. Earlier in the season, it wasn't as good, obviously, as Denver was. Has there ever been consideration about going to Florida, riding with Jet and Hunter, spending more time there? Most of the riders up here and the 250 East as well are now in the Southeast training. Has that ever been consideration, or are you just content to stay in California?
Yeah, I thought about like maybe just for one or 2 week, but not like full time there. But yeah, I don't know what my ridings has been just the same, like program being the same, just the starts that I needed to figure out. So not really like the where I ride will make like a big difference for me. So yeah.
All right, I think that's going to do it for our 250 West contenders. See you Saturday night. Thanks, guys.
Good luck, guys.
So an interesting part of the show here, we have two riders that we're going to talk to who are finishing their Supercross careers. One of them is going to race on through Pro Motocross and SMX, but this will be his final Supercross race. So we'll welcome him up to the stage from the Muck-Off FXR Club MX Yamaha team. Phil Nicoletti, come on up. Loudest ovation here. Phil, congratulations. You made it to a press conference in Supercross, so congrats on that. Had a loud ovation.
18 years later, I still don't think I deserve to be here, but here I am.
You get a lot of media, so you've had a lot of chances to explain why you're calling time on your career, but for those watching right now, just explain why you decided 2024 is the end of the road.
I mean, plain simple, I'm over it. I don't. Everyone knows Supercross is really gnarly, and at 35 years old, I don't want to take the risk anymore. So I'll leave it for the next young buck to come up and try and carve their way to make some money riding a dirt bike, like my dream always was. And I've noticed after, Anaheim won. I've said it multiple times on press day. I'm like, I looked at the finish line, and I'm like, I'm out. You know, I called my dad when I got back to the hotel, and I'm like, it's over. I'm this year and pack it in and ride off into the sunset. So, yeah, it's my time. I got 1 year to summer to empty the tank and move on.
So last weekend, one of your better rounds. Nice finish. Nice job.
Debatable.
We know you hate jumping big jumps. So do you think that because the 250s couldn't jump the big jumps, that was an edge that you could carry into here in Salt Lake as well?
I did double my way around Denver pretty damn good. So I was a distance 6. Like I said, I'm not delusional. I know I've had a lot of hard-fought 8th place finishes where I was very happy with my ride. My 6th place, I rode like shit, not going to lie. So I think this weekend might be the same sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to it. It is, it is a lot of pressure because it is an East-West shootout. I wish it was just kind of a West Coast round where I could kind of ride it on in. But makes it interesting, makes me have to stay locked in. So, yeah, try and handle the emotions, I guess you could say, and go from there.
So questions for Phil from the media.
Steve Mathis,
here we go.
Here we go, for sure.
I'm having a hard time coming up with some Supercross highlights for you in my mind. A lot of motocross ones, but you tell us, what are some of your favorite Supercross memories?
I mean, I don't know. Can't curse up here, but there's so many. I can't even really remember, to be honest. My first top 10s, first top 5s, first heat race win. Like, there's been a lot of them. So
you want a heat?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the mud, so again, it doesn't count. So not delusional, I know that. So yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of good moments, a lot of good laps led. I just think it's pretty cool. I got to race Stu and Reedy and RV and Dunge all the way down to, Deegan and Kitchen and Vial. So it's like it's been a huge span of pretty badass older riders and younger riders I can say I've lined up against and even led some laps against. So to me, that's pretty meaningful. So, yeah.
What's also interesting about you is you're the only guy who's friends with every single rider out here somehow. You're the only guy, I think, who's buddies with Jet Lawrence and Cooper Webb at the same time, the two guys that have a shot at the 450 title. So what about that part of racing, the social part, the friendship part, the being in the pits with your boys every week?
It's definitely kind of hard to balance because, yeah, Coop's been my boy for a long, long time, and we've battled some demons together, We've had some really good times. So that's kind of hard. And Jet's kind of a newer friend, you know what I mean? I've just kind of gotten to know him and Hunter and the whole Lawrence family. So, yeah, it's definitely hard. And people ask me, who do you want to win the championship or whatever? But, I mean, to be honest, if it's any one of those guys, I'd be pumped. And to see those two competing at the elite level, and like I said, I've known Coop for a long time, and I know what he's been through and stuff like that. And same with Jetson. It's pretty crazy, but I don't view them as racers. I just view them as Joe Blows. So they're just normal dudes that like to, some drink some beer and others play some golf. So it's pretty fun.
All right, Phil, Michael Antonovich with Swap Moto Live. I remember interviewing you in 2019, and it was right at the end of the year, and you were going to become a prison guard. And I was like, whoa. I think through the last 5 years, you're the one guy that has the most understanding at the highest level that there is a real world out there, and your appreciation through the last 5 years has gone up and down. 18-year career, you've hit every stage. For a young kid that's listening to this, what would you recommend to them?
I don't know. If you're not a Jetson or a Coupe, there's a life after racing, and not all of us actually make enough money to where you actually can retire. So just take it all in. I'm not delusional. My dad was a county employee for 35 years, so to see that and know that I'm going to need a job after, I had to think about that. When I went to Canada, it was a different part of my career to where all right, well, if this road ends after Canada, I need a job afterwards. So I did the prison guard thing, just kind of a fail-safe to do. And then Club MX, I talked to Brandon Haas, and it was just like, hey, I still want to come back to the U.S. And after the COVID thing in Canada, it was very lucrative for me to go to Canada, and I wish I would have went there many years prior. I bust Lucas Myrtle's balls about that quite a bit because it was I didn't want to go there at first, but like I said, I made a lot of money up there. So if I could have stayed up there, I'd still be there. But the avenue to come back to the U.S. kind of reignited my flame, and I wanted to go back to 250 Supercross, and I'm glad I did it. It's been quite a nice ride, up and down with injuries, but at the same time, it all goes full circle.
Dan Hubbard, Race Day Live. Phil, got a quick question, two-parter. Actually, my co-host Justin Brayton says there's a slim chance but a possibility that you are bluffing and you're going to really want to get back on that bike. Once you step away, it'll be hard for you to quit. I want you to address that. And number two, what are your plans? Where are you headed? I know you're working with Racer X and doing some stuff on Pulp MX, but what are your plans moving forward with this retirement?
I'm not coming back. When I say I'm truly over it, I'm over it. So I'm even struggling right now. I mean, the guys see me at club. I'm having a hard time even putting forth effort on days to train at club. And I got the hardest part. Supercross is really gnarly and technical, but the gnarly part of the summer's coming up. And I made a lot of money racing outdoors. That's kind of what thrived on my career. And now I'm turning into a bit of a baby when it comes to that sort of stuff. So I need to pull my head out of my ass a little bit and try and get back in the game. But as far as afterward, I've had a lot of great companies that supported me for a long, long time, and it's kind of crazy. It's amazing how long they stuck behind me even through the rough years that I've had. So FXR, I plan on staying with them for a little while, and also a couple other things I got going on, which I can't really say yet. But I'm looking forward to that part of my life, being able to, like I said in my retirement video, racing races I want to do and going back to local races with my pops, and the whole reason why I started this stupid sport to begin with. So and to finally be here and, like I said, go full circle, to go back to that point again, that's what it's all about. And I want to be able to have a beer after I ride, and be like, all right, that was a fun day, and not have to race a stopwatch. So yeah.
All right, that's it. Round of applause for Phil Nicoletti.
Thank you.
And there's another racer that will be marking Saturday night as his final professional race, not going to race Pro Motocross or the SMX rounds. So we welcome him from Monster Energy, Kawasaki. Let's chat with Adam Cianciarulo. Adam, same thing with Phil. You've had many opportunities to explain your situation here and why, but for those who have missed it, just explain why you unfortunately have decided you're calling time as a professional racer.
Well, first off, I want to let you guys know I'm nervous. I'm like never nervous up here. I'm so nervous for some reason. There's a lot that went into it. Obviously, the nerve injury. I've been trying to figure out this lack of grip strength in my right arm now for 3 years, and had a bunch of different surgeries to try to fix it. And if anything, all the surgeries have made it worse. And it's one of those things. Nerves just need rest. Like that's the only thing that's gonna, maybe help it get better. And for me, to be able to go the speed like I would be happy with, I'm just not able to do that anymore. And I'm not really able to feel good about what I'm able to put on the track. Like I can go out there and do my best within reason, but it's just not where I want to be. And I don't want to, I don't want to half-ass it really. And that's just it. I would rather, move on. And, I think all of us dirt bike racers, it's a big jump to move on, especially, I'm 27 years old. I got a lot of life to live, but I know there's a lot more out there. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing, how that all turns out and just trying to, you kind of have that same passion I had for this and everything I did, all the work I did, and just put that into something else.
Questions from the press. Go ahead.
All right, Michael Antonovich, Swap Moto Live. Adam, we've talked about this a bunch of times, and I know all this week there's been so much. He's the one guy that never won. Oh my gosh, his career is incomplete. The championships that you did win or didn't win. I would have to say that through all of it, dude, I think that you've made a bigger impact by not doing that. And through the last few weeks, to see how many people have come up and seen you, to want to see you, how has that been to know the impact that you've left?
It's crazy, man. Like even just being here and just the fact that anybody cares that I'm done racing. I really am just the biggest fan of this sport. And I started just like everybody else, like just riding around in a field with training wheels and just to have a small, like you said, I didn't win a whole lot. I didn't win as much as I think, when I had so much speed and, you think talent, that I had the expectations, when I was a kid and, people were trying to turn me into, oh, is it going to be the next James or next Ricky or whatever, right? And of course it didn't work out like that. But I think I think what resonates with people is that we can all, we all try to plan our lives the best we can, and we have goals and we do our best to get those, but it doesn't always go according to plan. And for me, I've loved this enough. I've loved the sport enough to where I really feel that it's kept me going through that. When I was a kid and people were telling me, oh, you're going to do this, oh, you're going to do that, kind of in your head, you internalize it, and you're like, if I don't do that, I'm like a failure. Like I'm not, like how am I going to be able to live with myself, And I guess what I found is just picking myself up and doing the best I can. Like you said, the support, since I've announced this has been way more than I would ever think, and I think that's what resonates with people is just life can kick the shit out of all of us sometimes, and I've kind of just I guess I don't want to use too foul of language, but I've got my butt kicked like in a public setting for a long time, and but I've had fun. I've been able to, still be grateful, been able to kind of zoom out of those tough moments and recognize that I'm very lucky to have these opportunities. So, yeah.
Just as a follow-up on that, thanks for doing what you did, dude, because you've grown up so much in the spotlight and shown so many people how to go up and down with the emotions. Yeah, dude, we've gotten to see you grow up, so good job.
Thank you, man.
Kellen Brower with MotoOnline.com. First of all, congratulations on the career. Now that you're at this end point and you get to look back and reflect, what would you say you're most proud of from your career?
I've sit and thought. I figured somebody was going to ask me this. I've thought about it a little bit. Results-wise, I think that whole run I had in 2019, even though I had that slip up and I blew the Supercross title, being able to come back. And I'd never really been a proven outdoor guy. I had won one race before that, and I really believe if I had won the Supercross title, like I don't think there's any way I would have won that outdoor title. So it's kind of a metaphor for that year to me is kind of a metaphor for my whole career. It's like you have this massive, for bad or worse, it's been a highlight reel. It's either really low or really amazing, and it's to be able to pick myself up after the lowest, probably the lowest I've ever felt in my life to, we get 1 weekend off and then right back to it, and to win a title, and just for everybody. I mean, Mitch stuck by me. I wouldn't even be sitting here if it wasn't for Mitch and Kawasaki. They stuck by me in those. I won some races, thankfully, right away in 2014, and I basically didn't race for 2 years. And that could have gone either way. So just to see the look on everybody's faces, I've always been a guy that gets so much enjoyment from seeing other people stoked, like friends, teammates, the crew that's with me during the week. Like I do it as much for them as I do myself, and I think that's what I'll remember the most. Like everybody just coming over and being stoked for me. And that another kind of, I guess, layer to that is I did for the longest time. I basically just like why I crashed and why a lot of people crash is because we ride in a panic, basically. Like I was riding, when I turned pro, I was riding like I had a gun to my head all the time, right? And that's just, through childhood, whatever, that's just how I ended up developing. And it led to a lot of injuries. Like we know about the growth spurt and shoulders, this, that, but a lot of it was me. Like a lot of it was just not being able to be patient. And I feel like that 2018, kind of before I had the good 19 and 20, I guess like the height of my career, I feel that I made a massive step mentally. Like I felt like everything that's happened since then injury-wise hasn't been because I'm not focused, in a panic or whatever. So I was really proud of myself that I was able to kind of bring myself to that place where I could be a consistent winner in a championship threat.
Matt Williamson, MXP. Quick question, or actually a lot of good questions already, so some are already taken. But I remember over the years, you've always had a really good following, always really awesome to your fans, stuff like that. What would your advice be to other riders that may be struggling with kind of getting in that spotlight and interacting with them? Because I think you've been a leader in that for as long as I can remember you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know. I never want to be the guy that's trying to give advice. I'm figuring it out just like everybody else, right? But I think the biggest thing for me, I mean, a couple things. I think anybody that puts not just dirt bikes, not just sports, anybody that puts so much into your job, whatever it is, you end up equating your value. And I know for sure I did this to an extreme extent, as a human being. I mean, for the longest time, if I wasn't performing on a dirt bike, like I was not okay with myself. Like I could barely function. It was not a sustainable, I guess, mindset for life. So kind of being able to do some inner work and, find the value that I have as a human. And I think it's so cool that, everybody has been so supportive of this kind of transition for me. And a lot of it's not about, I'm not Eli Tomac, I'm not Jeremy McGrath or Ricky Carmichael or anything, but it's kind of just been I guess my attitude that people have resonated with. So I think it's, finding value in yourself outside of results, and just not letting other people define you. I think I could have easily, when things weren't working out, like I could have easily gotten bitter. Everybody's calling me a bust. Everybody's saying this, that. Like I could have let other people define me, but I kind of chose to grow. I chose to find the positive, and I think I found something on the other side of that that's kind of, it's hard to explain, but there's a lot of peace there.
Jim Kimball with Motocross Action. Adam, you kind of touched on it a minute ago, but just maybe talk for a minute. You've been on one brand basically your entire, from hot, young, prospect, amateur to now. Can you touch on that for a minute?
Yeah, that's one of my going back to the other question about my kind of proudest achievement, I think that's one of them. You know, I've been with Kawasaki. I signed with them in, I think, October of 2003. I've been with Kawasaki my entire career. Besides a PW50 or a Cobra 50, which obviously Cowie does not make those size motorcycles, I've been with Cowie since then, through the Team Green program, through Mitch's program, and finally to where I'm at now with Monster Energy Kawasaki. And it's like a family. It just really, so many things, so many things had to go right for that to happen. Of course, they've stuck with me through down times, and we've always had this mutual respect, and I have so much respect for all those guys over there. I mean, they've become family to me, and it's just, it's incredible. And it's all like loyalty means a lot to me. It's like a core value of mine that I really try to protect, and I think, just to have this whole career, and it's honestly, it's working out perfect. Like, as soon as I realized that, hey, I'm not gonna, like, this nerve thing isn't getting any better. Like, I don't deserve the factory seat on a Cowie 450. Like, to be out there getting 14th, 15th. Like, it's just the perfect time to kind of be done and move on and kind of end on a Kawasaki. Like, I never had any desire to go to another team, like a lesser team, and try to figure it out or anything. To me, it was just like, I don't want to ride a different bike. And obviously, the relationship will continue, with Kawasaki, and I'm incredibly fortunate to be with them as long as I have.
All right, round of applause for Adam Cianciarulo race's final race tomorrow.
Thank you, Adam. We will now bring up the top 3 in the 450 series class points. We will start off with Honda HRC's Jet Lawrence. Followed by Monster Star Yamaha's Cooper Webb. And Red Bull KTM's Chase Sexton. Starting off the questions, I'll ask for Chase. This was a big transition year for you. You've been with a former team for a very long time, a former brand, just like Adam Cianciarulo had been. Was this more challenging, changing frame materials, changing personnel than you had previously thought it would be? You're finding form now, but I think earlier in the season everybody was expecting a lot. You're the former champion. What was that transition and challenge like, I guess is a better way to state it?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said it was easier than I thought it was going to be. It was very hard, and I wouldn't change it for anything, though. I think it's made me a better rider and just overall better person. It's been a lot of challenges this year, as a lot of people have seen, but it's coming around, and I feel like the last couple of weekends I've really started to find my form again. And it's been a little late, but we're looking forward to just keep building. And it's a lot different of a motorcycle than what I was on previously. So just keep building and have a great team behind me, and they've been there through the ups and downs. So looking forward to continuing this relationship. And it's been a trial of a season, but I'm excited for the future.
Open it up to the media. Go ahead.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports for Jet. Do you remember at all what it was like to lose a championship? All modesty aside, if you clinch this tomorrow, you're looking at your 8th championship. And was there a moment when Coop was able to erase that 21-point lead that maybe some of those feelings came back?
I think last time I lost a championship was probably the early of 2021 in Supercross. I was obviously still trying to figure that stuff out, and it sucked. I mean, I wanted to win that really badly, and losing it, I think, is what drives us most each weekend. So, obviously losing that big points lead wasn't very ideal, and you obviously have to stay pretty grounded even when you have a points lead. So, but no, I mean, the exciting thing with this championship, it's not over until the last race is kind of done. So, I mean, Coop's been able to take it to that last round, and we're looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully we can just kind of click off another good round like the previous ones.
Michael Antonovich with Swap Moto Live. This is a two-part question. The first one is for Cooper, and then the second one's for Jet. I was thinking the other day to 2022, Cooper, when you went down and started training with Darren and everybody down there, and even said that Darren treated you like one of his kids, all that you learned with being with Burner. When you were part of that program, were you watching him thinking, I'm going to be battling this guy for a championship in a few years, and I better take note of what he's doing, and what made you better from that time?
2022 was rough, like you said, but yeah, I was able to, towards the end of 21, go down there, and looking back, I was able to ride and train with him a little bit, but should have went full on with him. But I think at that time it was a new bike, so it was a struggle for me, no lie. But yeah, they treated me like family, and I knew, like it was no secret at the time. My timeline was trying to get better for 22, for 23, and I knew the day was coming. I think I've said it before. I knew what he could do. So it's definitely, when I look back at those times, like fun times, but also like we learned a lot. I learned a lot, and it was for me result wise not great, but I definitely learned a lot, and it was super fun down there. And it's crazy, to fast forward to now that we've been in this position this year for sure.
And then Jet, for you, when he's there and he's already a two-time Supercross champion, what were you watching him do to know, like, he's going to use that against me one day, I better learn it?
I mean, it was never really the kind of, like, think of it in the future side of things. It's like, I just got to learn. I mean, he's a two-time champ for a reason. He's got stuff that he's really good at, and I got to learn that. I can't not have a champion there and not learn off him. And, I mean, I can't even count on my fingers how many times we've been doing motos together in that off-season. I mean, I think that's still probably one of the funnest off-seasons we had, because each time we went out there, we were going hard, and it was fun. I mean, most of the time he smoked me. But when the track was just right enough and I could get everything, thankfully, I could kind of keep him kind of close. But no, it's wild to think. I was thinking about it even last weekend. Like, it was crazy how we're training together back then, and now we're going up against in a championship. I remember back then even thinking of it, like, oh, it'd be sick to go up against Coop. I mean, everyone knows how gnarly he is in the end of the season and how he can just make things happen when you wouldn't really think of it. So it's I just remember always dreaming and kind of thinking of it, like, oh, I can't wait to go and to battle with him, and I was lucky enough to kind of have that battle this year with him. It's been awesome, and I'm very excited tomorrow, because I still know it's not going to be a smooth sailing.
Kel Brower with MotoOnline.com for Jet. Last year at this stadium, you came in and it was your last time on a 250, and you're getting ready to transition to a 450. And I'm sure you had an idea of what that transition would be like, but now that you've had a full year, have you been able to reflect back on how incredible that has been for you?
I mean, it's as an athlete, it's always pretty hard to kind of reflect and look at of what you've done so far, because each week, each day, we're always looking to be better than the previous day before. So we very rarely, I mean, I think for me, I always look back as after a championship. You always look back and kind of look on the year. I mean, especially like last year. But during the season, it's always so hard, because once we get done with this championship, you always switching back straight into outdoors. So you never really get to stop and actually think. And it's been something I've been trying to work on, just kind of making sure it goes slow almost, and appreciate the small things that we have accomplished, and even the things that we've kind of sucked at this year. And we learn, you got to kind of appreciate both sides of things. But yeah, it's definitely a learning thing.
Andrea Ruggiero, Moto Now blog. Cooper, can you give us more information about your thumb injury, and will you be taking time off, and when will we see you outdoors?
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly the timeline, but yeah, unfortunately it will require surgery. So we'll let you know more soon.
I want to ask you about that, Coop. It kind of happened, and then you made a run and got the points close. So what were the emotions of managing this injury? Did you think at first you could get by with it, or the whole time it is in the back of your mind like, why now, why now, why now?
Yeah, it was tough. I think at the time, usually like for me, pain it's temporary, right? So I felt like I did a really good job. I didn't feel like it hindered me whatsoever. But like the last race at Philly, I think when I got together with Jason,
it finally finished it off. So the last weekend was tough, but we've healed all week. I was able to take the whole week off, and I feel better. I feel like it'll come around for this one. So I mean, it's part of racing, right? I think we're all banged up at certain points during the season, and that's racing. I've raced with plenty of injuries before and been able to win, so I don't think it hindered me at all. Definitely tested the mental, but hey, that's part of it.
Scott Yarja, MotoNet blog. Chase, you mentioned the bike improvements you made in the last month. Does that transition over into pro motocross? Like, do you feel like the bike is ready and you're good to go?
Yeah, the funny thing is, I think the big improvements we made on Supercross was because of outdoors. We started testing the week after, was it St. Louis, whatever the last one was before the week off. We had a full week of outdoor testing, and we actually took a lot from outdoors and put it on Supercross, and that's the reason that we've gotten a lot better. So I would say things are looking good for outdoors. Obviously, it's going to be a whole new season and a lot of more learning, but I think, like I said, we learned a lot from being on the outdoor bike, and I really feel like the stock platform on the KTM is really good, and that's what we've kind of reverted back to. So it's going to be it's going to be a fun outdoor season and something I'm looking forward to.
Steve Mathis, just a comment from each of you on what Phil Nicoletti hanging it up means to you and going forward.
Nothing. No. No, Phil's a good guy. It is cool. Like you guys, I heard the press conference. Like I look at him as like a blue collar just racer. So good for him. He's been a long time friend, and to go out on his terms, pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like he said, I'm kind of a new friend to him, but I mean, since we've been friends with him, it's been always awesome. I don't think there's ever a time where we haven't been laughing or talking smack. And you're always going to get something from Phil. So he's an awesome guy. We love him as family, and it's a bummer to see him go, but hopefully we can see him still at the race weekends to give us a good laugh.
I don't know Phil super well, but I don't think there's really one person in the paddock that doesn't like him. So that's kind of a good thing to know. And also Adam, sitting back there listening to his speech, it's kind of gets you emotional, especially with how well I know Adam, and seeing these two guys go out and not going to see them racing again is kind of a tough moment, but I know both of them will be successful whenever they do after this.
Matt Williamson, MXP. Questions for Jet. With your brother and your other brother, Sushi, up on the podium with you, how was the mood after that race last weekend? I mean, you guys were all smiles, kind of joking around up there on the podium and stuff. Does it feel good to kind of have him as part of your family now?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, me and Joe have always clicked together ever since I first got here. I mean, when I first got here, he didn't speak a lot. And then ever since I got here, we've been good friends, and we talk smack. So it was cool to kind of finally see Joe do good in the 250 and get a race win, because we've seen it at the practice track. We've always known he's had it, and it was just a matter of time when he could get it. And I mean, you want to celebrate last weekend a lot, but it's hard because it's still not the final round. I mean, if it was the final round, you'd be celebrating a lot more, but it's kind of like you celebrate the small thing, and then, yeah, once it goes to Sunday, it's kind of back onto the next weekend and focus onto that. So it's but it's cool having obviously my brother on the team too. We've been up there last weekend with 1-2. It's you have to celebrate this because it's an awesome accomplishment, but then again, you have to kind of get back on track and stay focused.
I got another one for you, Coop. The Anaheim 1 press conference, someone said there are 3 real contenders here. It was Chase, Jet, and Eli Tomac. One of the major media outlets had preview videos, didn't even have you in the first video. If you don't win the title, it's going to be a long shot. You still have a shot. Can you still take some solace in I won 4 races, I kept it close to the end, and you really did step up your game this year? Can you take any positivity out of that, or is it title or bust?
No, it is. I think when you reflect on the year and, like a same kind of situation, I did come to a new team and learn a new bike, but it's been a familiar team, obviously. But I think when you look at the year as a whole, and especially after SMX, like I wasn't even close. And racing these two, like you're almost light years behind. So I think to make that progress in such a short amount of time, and when I look at the year in a whole, I have a lot of great race wins and podiums and top 5s, and I can reflect on the mishaps, but it was a solid year. I feel like I've really reestablished myself again. You know, it's funny, like you said, people forget that, you know, most years I'm always in this fight. So it's good to continue that, and I know going into next year what I need to do, and you know, I truly feel like I can get it done, you know, at some stage until whatever I decide to race till. I feel like I'm getting better. This is my best year yet, so I'm excited and for the future, and now we'll get healed up and see what we can do in SMX and all that. But overall, I'm super stoked. Second is not great. That's not what our goal is. Anybody up here's goal, but overall, it's still got to hang my hat high.
I think we're good. All right, well said, gang. That's it for the formal portion of the press conference with the racers. Thank you, guys. They'll be out on the track a little bit later. Thank you. Round of applause for our 450 contenders. Have a few more things we're going to do here. And again, they'll be out on the track to ride, and we'll have a little press session for the traditional one-on-ones we normally have for Friday Media Day. But we want to transition to one more thing we want to talk about here. It's our St. Jude Love Moto Stop Cancer. Again, if you want to talk to the athletes, you'll have your chance out on the track. Let's introduce Ryan Dungey, also Lauren Kennedy and Matthew O'Shea, part of Ryan Dungey's foundation and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And this is really cool how this is going to work out here. We're raising a lot of money in a lot of ways, and a big part of it is the Ryan Dungey Foundation. Did they give you a mic there? They did.
Got it.
There we go. All right, let's introduce the multi-time champion of motocross and supercross, Ryan Dungey, and all the great things you're doing.
Thanks, guys. Thank you guys for having us out here. As some of you may or may not know, our partnership that the Ryan Dungey Foundation has with the KTM Juniors. I myself was a junior. It completely changed my life for the better. And over the last 3 years, these kids have raised over $120,000, which is just incredible. So super proud of them. And part of that money goes to all kids' bike programs. It teaches these kids how to ride bikes, and the other part to St. Jude. I got the Burley brother, well, little man up here today. His brother's in the back, kind of shy. Oh, hold up. So they were both juniors. Together, they've raised over $10,000. So super proud of these kids, the brothers. They're up here today to help me present this check to Supercross, the Love Moto Stop Cancer campaign for St. Jude. I'm going to let him tell me. You want to tell them the amount? We flip it over? There we go.
$6,241.
There you go. You want to wave to your mom and dad? Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ryan, and thanks for getting this started. Love Moto Stop Cancer campaign. Congrats to the Burley boys and also Matthew O'Shea there of St. Jude. And this is within the KTM Junior program. The racers have a chance to raise money as a fundraiser. They've raised to date $49,386 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. It was actually $9,000 that the Burley brothers flipped it upside down.
It was so much he got confused at the last second.
It was actually $9,000, so congrats on that. And as most of you know, the St. Jude Love Moto Stop Cancer Text to Donate campaign is going. It's still active. Text SUPER to 785-833. And also the auction items are available through Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. There's a lot of unique items we have here, 170 different items, some donated by companies, a lot of race-worn gear, plastics from the motorcycle from our Love Moto Stop Cancer event. So again, that goes all the way through Monday at 9 Eastern. Get your bids in now, and all the money goes to St. Jude. Go to supercrosslive.com, St. Jude, for all the details. That's it for the formal press conference. Media, you can head to the track. We'll have Supercross futures and our title contenders out there at Rice Eccles Stadium. Thanks for coming.